City officials in Atlanta will release copies of petitions against a proposed police and firefighter training center. This comes as the city has yet to verify those signatures or move forward with a referendum to stop what is being called Cop City. Supporters of that referendum say that the petition has 116 signatures. That's twice the number that's required by state law to call for a vote. Cop City is a $90 million, 85-acre project to train first responders. Opponents of the project say that it will lead to greater militarization of the police, and construction projects will cause more environmental damage to the poor, majority black area. Now, joining me to talk about this and help us think about how to fight the construction of Cop City is attorney Christopher Bruce. Chris, it's so good to see you. Of course, Chris is the Policy and Advocacy Director for the ACLU of Georgia. Chris, I have been sort of shocked at the response to Cop City, pleasantly shocked. The protests that we've seen haven't just been in Atlanta. They've been all around the country. Why do you think this particular development has been able to stir such outrage and such protest?
Well, Mark, first, thank you for having me. And secondly, and most importantly, thank you for covering this story, because as you said, it's not just happening nationwide. I've had calls from people from France, from Portugal, all over the world talking about Cop City. So I believe that what happened in 2020 with George Floyd and how the world came together, I think they're coming together now to say that there needs to be more investment in communities, in healthcare, in education, and not more investment in the police department, which breeds a lot of times more crime than actually helps deal with public safety.
What do you say to the people who say this is just going to make the system more efficient and safer? We already have cops, we already have firefighters and such. If we train them properly and have the right resources, then maybe they won't shoot us as often. Maybe they'll be less likely to over-arrest us or to tase us at a band battle.
Well, that's exactly what needs to happen. Discussions on what has happened in this country since the beginning of its development. Even before there was a United States, there were slave patrols, people who were paid by taxpayer dollars to track down black people who ran away and bring them back. That actually formed into our first police departments in the Americas. So it is within the depth of police departments, these institutions that have always terrorized black and brown communities. Now, let's get this straight. Police have helped out communities. I never want to go on record and say the police are just the worst thing that's ever happened. No, but I will tell you, they are the most protected individuals that will ever be on the United States. They already have protections when it comes to laws as far as hearings, when it comes to grand juries, immunity. There is no more investment than we need in the police right now. We need more investment in the community.
There's an interesting thing happening, right? There's Cop City. It's coming. Without our resistance, it'll be coming. But also Atlanta's proposing a new jail. I can't help but see some connection between those two things. Is this something we should be worried about?
And that's the problem. We're talking about over 10 people have died already in police custody at this jail. That is a problem. We have overcrowding. People are getting eaten alive at this jail. You have bed bugs, you have other insects, no air conditioning. These are very inhumane conditions. And again, we could actually have these people who are out. They are there because they cannot afford bond or bail. What really is going on here is that this is a criminalization of the poor. These individuals are not dangerous to the community. They should be let out so they can come up with a proper defense, and they'll come back for their day of justice. But right now, they're in a place that is horrible within it. So saying that you are going to spend $90 million on training individuals for an 85-acre facility compared to people who are literally being left in that jail for $2,000 or $3,000 who could go back to their families and increase public safety, it makes no sense at all.
Absolutely. The idea that we could be in a country where people are in jail simply because they're too poor not to be in jail is a moral atrocity. Help me understand what's going on with these signatures, though. Why isn't the city just accepting these signatures? What's the deal here?
Well, that's the best question that we have right now. And Mayor Andre Dickens, I know he loves the city of Atlanta, and I know he's doing what he believes is right. But Reverend Warnock has written a letter to the mayor. Stacey Abrams, one of the best voting rights advocates of our time, has told the mayor that it's time for a vote. It's time for a vote. There's only so much time that you can actually have within this. The city is claiming that the law forbids them from doing this. Others are saying that it's not. When it really comes down to it, people should have the right to vote on Cop City. And of course, they're going to vote no.
Of course they are. The ACLU is focused on this, clearly. They want to bring about some change. What exactly, before we go, are you all up to?
Well, let's make sure that we're clear. The ACLU is following the steps of an amazing coalition who are trying to defend the force and other people who are trying to stop Cop City. Everyone has the same mindset of focusing on the community. ACLU is focusing on uplifting those people who are on the ground, literally on the ground, in force, on the ground protesting, to make sure that their First Amendment rights are being protected, and to make sure, again, people who are being charged, there were 61 individuals who were charged with RICO charges, racketeering charges, for trying to stop Cop City. We know that this is quelling political dissent. We know that this is going to be used elsewhere. So don't just think that what's happening here in Atlanta won't happen in a city near you. If it doesn't stop here, it could be showing up in your city tomorrow.
And this is stoppable. You know, I've heard some people, including some very famous artists from Atlanta, say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. We should move on. When in fact, that's the exact opposite of what we should be doing. We should be drilling down. We should be fighting. We should be resisting. We should be doing whatever we can to stop Cop City if that's exactly what we want to do. And it is something I believe we should be stopping. Is it fair to say this fight ain't over yet?
Oh, the fight has just begun. And I don't think that people really realize how passionate individuals are about this, because we've seen, again, what's happened with police departments. Atlanta Police Department does need to have the training system that the Obama system has had, but they can get that already at the Atlanta Metropolitan Center. This is a time for us.
We don't need to invest tens of millions of dollars into it, particularly at a moment where we have so many other pressing needs and where the outcome, the solution, isn't going to give us what we want. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I wish you all nothing but luck in this struggle. Attorney Christopher Bruce, I want to thank you for joining me. Everybody